Welcome to a deck tech and gameplay showcase of Abzan Soul Sisters. I've got 3 rounds of a Sword and Sandals event to share. The first round though will be not recorded in arena. It's just a replay of the game log because I forgot to press record for that round. But let's get into it. So huge shout out to Joeks in the Discord, the Gladiator Discord, who I built the core of this deck with, brewed up the core of this deck with. Basically, we were on a Discord call and both were like, kind of want to build Soul Sisters. I had built a version that I didn't think was that good, that was more in on the combo and was splashing Nadu. It was just like super greedy. And we brewed up a much more streamlined version. And then I continued to tinker with that version. I also shout out to Hungary, who also built his own version of the list, and I played against him. And then I made a couple changes based on that until we got to this list, which is not exactly what I played in the event, because I have made a change since. Nope. Envoy. So in this event, I will have Envoy of the Ancestors in my deck, not a Johnny's Welcome. But after thinking about it, I think that's just a change you should make if you want to play this deck. So that's how I'll be playing it going forward. And this is just, this is a Soul Sisters deck. We're playing all of the Soul Warden effects that we can. We're playing Aunt May. We're playing Case of the Uneaten Feast. And obviously, Guide of Souls. We're also on all the Pride Mates. We're on a Johnny's Pride Mate. We're on Essence Channeler. We're on Hallowed Priest. Leonardo. It's kind of a big one. It was a new Pride Mate with lifelink. Voice. Elias. Amalia. We're a golden sidekick. And then we've got Dina and Starscape Cleric, which give you with your Soul Sisters if you play these. I feel like the inclination is to go for the combo with the cards that also trigger whenever your opponent loses life, you gain life, so you infinitely drain based on having those 2 cards and a life trigger. But honestly, in this deck, these cards, particularly Starscape Cleric, because of the Offspring where you get 2 of them, you just kill your opponent without needing to do all that. This gives your deck a range in a way that a lot of other decks don't. Also, all the life gain in this deck makes you extremely good the One Ring deck. Just the One Ring is absurd in this deck, as you just churn through. You just dump out your hand over and over again. Some absurd turns. We're also, Aerith is another Pride Mate, front 3. We've got Recruiter, Enduring Innocence, Recruiter of the Guard, Ranger of Eos, Sprite Glass Gear Hulk for guide Pride things. You're also a better Ocelot Pride deck than normal because you have so many ways to trigger it. You don't need Guide of Souls, although Guide of Souls is obviously great, but you can just Ranger Captain Vios for Ocelot Pride is also just complete house. That line is much more effective in this deck than in a lot of normal decks on those cards. I'm also on Ouroboros just because this card's absurd, and we have Go Wide Things, and when you play it in conjunction with some of the other effects that give you counters to put on stuff when you gain life, like Cleric class, or our other house, Archangel of Thune. This card gets ridiculous. You just make a ridiculous board. Exemplar of Light. This is a pride mate that draws you a card. A Johnny, Strength of the Pride. This gives you 2 pride mates. Pretty straightforward stuff. Solitude. Arwen is pretty incredible in Indestructible is just a pain in the ass for your opponent. And the ability to, at instant speed save a thing or give a giant pride mate or whatever lifelink to keep you alive. Very versatile. And we're on Barrow Grive. So I'll talk about some of the things about this particular build that are different. Which is, I used to be on Fatal Push, which I've cut, in favor of Oust and Dismember, because I didn't want any black mana on 1. Like, I've also tried running Thoughtseize in this shell. And I don't think that's where you want to be. The mana felt surprisingly bad with this deck for a lot of times I was running it, and that's been one of the fixes. Some of the other fixes are going really aggressive on my lands. We're on specifically going on a Multiverse Passage and Mana Confluence. Like, you're very pip dense. Having hands where you want to be able to cast Dina, Soul Steeper, and Golden Sidekick or whatever, like, it's tougher than it seems like it's gonna be. Like, I play a 4-color deck, and this deck was being more annoying than that one is. That was a big thing, and I just cut back on a bunch. Like, I was on Grist. I back on Grist. You could be on Grist. Grist is arguably just good enough. I tried Tainted Pact. I cut Tainted Pact. Demonic Tutor's obviously just too good. Because one of the things is you don't really necessarily need specific cards. What you want is card flow. So like Demonic for the One Ring is obviously great if you're at that point in the game or whatever. But you're really good in the middle of the game. This is a mid-range powerhouse of a deck. It's really good at winning against fair mid-range decks. It's really quick aggro decks like Mono Red can get under you. All your creatures are very weak to shock, so they can just, kill your early things, get a Broadside Bombardiers, and you're dead. And also, combo. You don't have a lot of tools against combo. You've got Agatha Soul Cauldron into Ranger Captain of Eos. It's kind of it against combo, or killing them. Is your main out there, because you can put out a lot of power quick if you've got the right hand. Against control, it's similar. You're pretty vulnerable to board wipes, but if you have card flow, if you've got the One Ring, if you've just drawn a couple of things off Dark Confidant, you can pull through. Arwen's incredibly annoying in the control matchup, and I'm on Stirring Wildwood as my manland for the control mirror or control matchup, just to make it annoying for them. You could arguably be on more manlands. That's the one I've chosen to do. We're on Enlightened Tutor because it gets Gear Hulk, the One Ring, a bunch of 1-drops, Agatha Soul Cauldron if you need it if you're up against Reanimator or whatever. Sorin is another house in life gain. The fact that this goes face is just absurd. I think that's it for the deck tech. Oh, I was on more Manador because I was on Ignoble and Delighted, and they felt pretty bad. You really want dorks that give you white. I've determined, since our deck is mostly white. So I'm sticking with Abzan's Pilgrim for now. But Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, and Deathrite Shaman are all great. I do think they're good. And don't leave home without your Ghost Vacuum. Yeah, we're on Static Prison. Yeah, just a lot of simple stuff in a deck that's surprisingly real. Soul Sisters, it's a classic fun strategy. Really hasn't been good in Gladiator, but I think this build is pretty real. It's been fun to build and really cool to see it really succeeding. So enjoy the games. Okay, so I forgot to press record to record my arena gameplay for my first match. So we're just gonna go over the replay on Untapped. So it's gonna go a little quicker is the benefit here. So my opponent plays turn 1 Saz's Chocobo. I start out with Soul Warden. And so this is up against counters. So my opponent doesn't have a ton of removal. So my Soul Warden getting to stick around is really important because I have 2 Pride Mates that are gonna get swole off this thing. And the card filtering of the Explore and the Scry triggers on Tricella are going to be nice. I don't know why the board disappears briefly. Yeah, so we're just taking some damage. Now this fight does put us in a little bit of a precarious position where we don't have a life gain trigger currently. And draw a Pride Mate, which, that Essence Warden, Soul Warden would have been great. Essence Warden is the green one that's not on Arena. Chocobo's getting pretty big. And there's Bebop pulling Rocksteady into the hand. So we're down to 8 life, but now we've got. Oh, and I sandbag my One Ring a little. Play this blocker. There's the Bebop. Rocksteady goes to 5/5. Chocobo is huge, but I can at least chump block it. And then I'm going to play the One Ring next turn. So I can chump block. And I also block Rocksteady with just to save myself some life here. So now we play the One Ring. Draw a card. Play a Surveil land. And we're at 3. We're in a precarious position, but my opponent has 2 creatures with trample, and basically nothing else matters. Because of this, the Pride Mate will give us plenty of chump blockers. So our One Ring goes away. Although I don't know about the timing on that seems bad, because they let me get an extra 2 cards. If they just done that on their turn. Friendly Eldrazi had done that on his turn, and then I don't get to draw 2 extra cards. It's probably pretty similar. So now I get a bunch of life gain triggers. I've got a lot of chump blockers. I've got this 7/7, 8/8. This Pride Mate's gotten pretty swole. 9-9. 9-9. Now we're kind of sitting pretty. We've outscaled our opponent in the ways that matter. We get to cast Sorin. We cast an Envoy, which is in the spells, which makes our Bridemaid have lifelink, which is just like our opponent is now dead. And on to game 2. Because Sorin, you attack with the giant life linker, you gain 10 life. You flip Sorin, you deal 10 plus to face. Another turn 1 Chocobo start. And this time we don't have a 1-drop Soul Sister. We have a 2-drop Soul Sister in Distinguished Conjurer. Michelangelo is a little scary. The Hardened Skills effects could really accelerate what my opponent's trying to do to the point where I can't turn the corner in this game. So I am just going to answer that immediately. Hit it with the Bridgeworks Battle. Attack, because I'm not blocking with this thing anyway. My opponent is obviously a little stuck on lands, having to assemble the team for a land. This Chocobo gets big. Hits me, puts me to 13, but I'm not that worried about that. A land would be nice. We draw a land. Perfect. And I just play this Ranger, Captain Vios, to grab Guide Pride. Ranger Vios. Because that's just going to give us all the chump blockers in the world. I think about blocking, but I decide that 5 life also doesn't matter. As long as I'm not dead, I can hold on to this 3-2. So we get Bowmastered, so we get taken off Guide Pride, but now we establish our Arwen, which can chump block forever. Back up to 10. We've got Rocksteady again. Putting Bebop into the hand. Casting the Bebop. The 5-6 comes in, but it doesn't matter. We just chump block with our 2-2 Indestructible. Play a Johnny's Pridemate. Cast Recruiter of the Guard. This thing's already gotten huge. Next turn we can cast Starscape Cleric for a ton of value. We're up to 14. So this Rocksteady isn't threatening anymore. We can just block Bebop. So I block Bebop with Ranger of Eos to trade, and I chump the Saz's Chocobo with Arwen. Now we've got a Stomp effect off of Wingbane Vantasaur, and I decide to save my Guide of Souls by sacking the Arwen, giving it indestructible. The Arwen had damage marked on it, so then the Arwen does die. But at this point, that's not a big deal. Now I get to Starscape Cleric with Offspring, draining my opponent to 4, and then I can attack Guide of Souls trigger, give it flying. Wingbane Vantasaur gets to block. But my opponent plays Doomscar Warrior, which gives this Chocobo Trample, but I'm at 20, so I just take it. And that's game. This Birds of Paradise doesn't actually matter. I had Demonic Tutor in my hand. And that was my round 1. Alright, so now we're on to recorded arena gameplay. My round 2 was up against Hungary, who is also on Life Gain, but he's on Orzhov. He has cut the green from his deck, but he is more in on the combo version. Oh, we get to establish this Virulent Emissary and let this Chrome Box rot in my hand. I could play out this voice, but that doesn't seem exactly worth it to get rid of my Static Prison, so we'll just go a little slower. This game looks like this, where you go, maybe I should cut Chrome Box. But I think the games where Chrome Box is good are important enough that you still play it. Now this Sentry, I think I'm a little over spooked by this Sentry. It seems better than maybe it is. But I'm not sure. Thinking about using my Get Lost, but ultimately I have better targets for this Get Lost. Really, the thing I need to hold this Get Lost for is to make sure I don't get comboed. Kind of, nothing else matters. So this block, my opponent's clearly telegraphing Bowmaster, but if my Virulent Emissary gets Bowmastered, it's also bad for me. So I just decide I'm worth losing the Pridemate type cards to keep the Soul Sister, if it was indeed Bowmaster, and to just call the bluff. Maybe that wasn't the right play, but I think it was. I think it's arguable that it's fine, because your Soul Sisters are really the engine of the thing. Now that he's got 3 creatures, I don't want him getting like free 3/3s, so I fire off the Static Prison while I have a free mana. Again, my opponent's stuck on land. Great for me. I see Auto Tapper wasn't going to leave me white mana, so I manually tap my lands. Because I want an Ocelot Pride. But I'm also thinking about my opponent having some kind of removal. And since I do have Soul Sister, this Virulent Emissary, I decide to grab Mother of Runes instead of Guide of Souls. So that if there is removal, Hungry has to use it on the Mother of Runes now. Now, not grabbing Guide of Souls means the Static Prison's eventually going to go away, but I decide by that point, it's fine. He can have the 2/2. I will have a board to punish him for attacking with a lot of things, if he's attacking with a lot of things, to get a good value out of the trigger. And now my opponent's just got some 1/1s and a 1/2, so I can attack with this 3/2. Fine. Bowmaster really doesn't matter in this matchup unless I draw the 1 ring. At which case I might just fire off the Get Lost on it, probably. But I would rather be able to hold up the Get Lost to stop the combo if I can. Cosmograph Zenith is a little scary. That can give my opponent a board to compete with this Ocelot Pride. I do still need stuff to trigger this life gain to get more Ocelot Pride tokens. Got Arwen. Got a pretty snazzy board stall. Waiting for some real action. Starscape's Cleric is scary. I don't have any way to block a flyer, and it's half of the combo. The double spell on the Cosmograph Zenith I'm thinking about. Do I need to answer anything? I decide no, I don't. This is going to be a lot of triggers, but I'm hemming and hawing. Because this bat is a problem. But I really don't want to answer the bat because the cleric class can bring it back to the play. So I'm really incentivized to hold the Get Lost for the other half of the combo now. Now I get Ouroboros. Firing off the Ancient Tomb there, I think is too aggressive. I don't think I needed to pay the 2 life. When I have this, I'm staring down the barrel of this cleric. But I think about attacking, then decide, no, it's better to not trade off any cats and just let them all build up off the Ouroboros triggers, if I get them. I don't think Fair Field of the Dead is where you want to be in this deck. But when you're on 2 colors, maybe it's fine. Because your mana is not as bad as on the 3-color version. Heliod's pretty spooky. It's gonna make this bat extremely large, and I don't have a way to block flyers. So now my life total really does matter. I'm under a ton of pressure. And again, I could fire off the Get Lost, but long term, I don't want to, because he can just bring it back. And the way I really lose is to the combo. If I can just bear the brunt of this assault and gain the life back, then I would be sitting pretty, but don't do that here. Arguably, I think I'm supposed to attack with Ranger and Arwen to give me a big jolt of life. But I'm not sure. Because 16 is pretty low looking into this cleric. That I still can't block. Shines again. If it gets to the 3rd stage, will kill me. If everything gets flying. So I have to keep that in mind now. I'm thinking about if I stop this life gain, can I then kill Hungry? Before I decide, not really. Now my crackback window's really fallen off. We got this Haywire Mite, which solves one problem. And then I don't have to worry about this Nakatuma anymore. Noctamun. I think I just butchered that alchemy card. Gain some life. Get rid of that. Get some more pride tokens. Now I feel comfortable attacking with some stuff. Force some blocks. I'll be getting 2 more cats at the end of the turn, so I'll feel okay about my blocking situation. But I'm really just trying to clear out some of his stuff. Again, arguable that I'm supposed to use the Arwen there for the life gain trigger, because if he can deal me not a ton of damage, I will just die. But I do have the Get Lost. Enduring Tenacity. And now I'm like, do I need to answer one of these? Am I just dead? I said I can wait for the attack. And now holding the Get Lost is paying off. Because we've got the combo piece, the Bloodthirsty Conqueror, taking the field. Get to kill it before that triggers. And then we can block with this Ocelot Pride and use the Arwen trigger to gain a ton of life before this bat kills us. So if Hungry plays the thing first, then I have to kill it, and then the bat gets to attack by itself. But I don't think that kills me either. Maybe it does. Yeah, I'm at 7. Yeah. But some of that was extra triggers off the thing coming into play. I think I would have been at 1. And I don't know if he could have given it lifelink off. I'd have to look at it again. Got this Saga again. We've got a 1 mana Soul Warden, although it's coming down on turn 2, which is not ideal. But now next turn we can play Boys of the Bust, one of our Pride mates, and oust something. Like this golden sidekick. This is what I mean about... See, even in the 2-color version, the pips are such a big deal. The opponent has Ancient Tomb and was not able to utilize it immediately very well. Now we also have Swords and Get Lost. And we've got, you know, our bread and butter combo pairing. Now this 2-1 gets flying, not a big deal. That Saga actually not super impactful in this game. And we have a hard cast Solitude off the Ancient. Now I don't have black mana. This is the fatal flaw with my hand. Fiend Artisan is really spooky. That goes, and then Mother of Runes also needs to be answered. I'm feeling pretty desperate here. I'm just going to block with my Death Touch creature. Arguably, I should Swords the Fiend Artisan, because it's kind of spookier. Get Lost the Fiend Artisan. I really need black mana. Or any kind of land. I draw Aerith. If I hadn't blocked, it would this Aerith would be looking a little better, but it still wouldn't be able to block the Solitude. So I don't know. I would be at 10 instead. Oh, it wouldn't be. Oh no, I would be at 12, I guess. Now Luris, extremely bad for me. Brings back this Fiend Artisan. I'm pretty much cooked. Luris, another card that could arguably be in my deck. Or arguably should be in my deck. I draw another black card. And I'm stuck on 3 lands. This was my turn to get land screwed. I got it enough advantage, winning out of it off my opponents being screwed. So seems only fair. Fiend Artisan for 1. Get Guide of Souls. Then casting Cosmograph Zenith. Now gets to recast the Lunarch Veteran, triggering the Cosmograph Zenith. I am Turbo Omega dead. And I draw a black source, but it's too late. Thinking, is there anything I can demonic tutor for that matters? And the answer is not really. So, game 3. We've got mana. We've got turn 1 Luminarch Veteran. And we've got Hardened Bond. We got removal, and we've got Hardened Bond's Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which could give us some card advantage. Oh, the mirror. So I had to play the Hardened Bonds out in case I draw a Pride Mate of some kind next turn. Rather than establishing the Soul Cauldron first. Opponent has all the life gain in the world. Demonic Tutor is interesting. But it's time to establish this Soul Cauldron, play this Triome, and chill.
Only the best for House Small.
Sorin is extremely rough.
No,
It was in my head to try and hold up Dismember, but I wanted the Soul Cauldron in play. I decide I need to look for action while I still have a creature. I decided to save myself the life. This is going to give me plenty of Soul Cauldron fodder. I don't know why I fired that off here. I should have hit the Luminarch Veteran first with the Soul Cauldron. That's a mistake. Witch Enchanter hits my Soul Cauldron, which is a bummer for me. Sorin pluses.
A meal worthy of my hunger.
Play this land. Hopefully this will be able to pressure Sorin in a future turn. I'm thinking if I want a Demonic Tutor for a removal spell to make sure I answer Sorin now. I take the gamble that I don't need to do that. Which maybe is also a mistake.
Show some respect.
Now I can play this Birds of Paradise and this Ghost Vacuum to make sure this Luminarch Veteran doesn't get to block me. Lunarch Veteran. My opponent casts DT, and now I'm spooked. Because this could be anything. What could it be? I looked at Hungary's lists, so I don't know what the right choice is. But Hungary grabbed Sand Cloud Harbinger, and this can't be the right choice. Because now Soren's dead. I'm like kind of confused and sighing relief that DT was not scary in the least. I'm just going to make sure this Soren is dead. And then I'm feeling in a pretty commanding position.
Curse this world!
Yeah, I don't care if you gain life. I get to draw a card also off this land. This is not the matchup for Soul Sand Cloud Harbinger. Get to hit the Soren. Don't have to worry about that ever again. Get to DT. For the One Ring. Cast the One Ring. Probably should have tapped birds instead of Pilgrim. But okay, Elder Tapper, I see you. Voice of the Blessed. Perfect. A fatty. Old Priest is fine. Get rid of this Witch Enchanter. Draw more cards. Play out all the things. My opponent getting triggers off all my creatures is kind of annoying, but also I don't think it matters. Ouroboros, big boy. I think about it, but I decide it's better to... I think I'm going to establish the Mother of Runes. Or am I just going to play the Ouroboros? Thinking about it. No. I'm going to establish the Mother of Runes. Play out the Voice of the Blessed. Play out the Mother of Runes. I got Path to Exile if anything actually spooky comes out. I can just take 7. It's not a big deal. Or 8. some life. Draw some cards. Oh, draw Solitude. I decide to just Solitude this priest, I think. No. No, I cast a Arborite. Okay, that makes more sense. Now I've got stuff with flying. Arborate trigger. Attack with flying. Vigilance. Take a chunk. And I don't even need to cast anything else. I'm holding up Hard Cast Solitude. So I'll probably just cast Path. Field of the Dead not looking great. I decided just to path this. There's a chance my opponent could be sandbagging 2 combo pieces or something. Maybe. But I think that he's off of 1 mana being able to do that. Yeah. No. He could. He could have it. It's possible. Unlikely, though. And that's a scoop. That's match 2. All right, and now here's the finals. Me versus Supreme Phantom. Final round for the day. And Supreme Phantom is on Azorius Control plus Dam. And I'm feeling pretty in trouble in this matchup. My creature-based strategy doesn't feel like it has the best shot against Wrath of God typal. But, you know, I've played enough Control to know sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes your deck is full of board wipes and you don't have them when you need them. So we're gonna do our best. Yeah. Probably should attack with Mother of Runes there. Getting any damage I can. As bad as it feels if there's an easy removal spell. In a world of so many Wrath of God effects. I'm pretty happy to see this search for Escanza because I have a clean Haywire Might for it. And if my opponent is relying on that to, for the card selection, then I have a chance of being in a good spot. I do need another land, though. Make sure I tap this white mana to cast the Haywire Might so that I can then use its ability to get rid of search. No card filtering for you. It does seem like Supreme Phantom is stuck on land. And so am I. But I will play this Hollowed Priest. Next turn, I can Harden Bonds and Halaya, Guided by Light, to at least get an extra card, but a land would be very nice at this point. It's what I need. Supreme Phantom finds a Lorien revealed. For a Surveil land, to maybe find the fourth land to find the Wrath of God. I really need lands so I can get this One Ring in play. That is not a land. Harden Bonds. Warp in Aaliyah, because at least this gives me the triggers, but is it committing more to the board that gets wiped out by the next Wrath of God? And again, I've left like 3 damage on the table or something with not attacking with his Mother of Runes, but I don't know how annoying that was for Supreme Phantom though. The Archmage's Charm. Drawing 2 cards, finding the land. That could be swords. In which case, leaving Mother of Runes untapped was worth it. It is Prismatic Ending to answer the Harden Bonds. Mother of Runes doing her job. Now again, it's arguable I shouldn't cast anything here because of the Wrath of God that's definitely coming. But there is the Day of Judgment. Now we're in trouble. Alright, but we got to put a One Ring in play, maybe. Dina is very interesting because that can cause life loss that's not attacking. Our opponent's at 3. So it won't take a lot to get there. But they also have 6 cards in hand, and none of those are lands, presumably. So it seems rough. Unexpectedly absent. Okay, well, I guess we just cast the One Ring again. Phantom Interference. Cast Giver. I decided to cast Dina because I want to commit the things to make another board wipe happen. And I want the Exemplar for the card advantage possibilities. I get another Wrath effect happening. I also now get to use my fetch for a Surveil. Don't need more land at this point. Play. And now let's play out the Archangel of Thune, because the Exemplar, again, is card advantage potentially at some point. If we draw a Soul Sister. Now they have to have, Super Inventor has to have an answer for Archangel of Thune. There it is, Wrath of God. Now we get a Bright Glass Gear Hulk, maybe? Okay. So Cleric class, excellent choice. I want something I can cast off. So I grab Guide of Souls because that'll trigger the Exemplar of Light, and I grab Cleric class because that's a thing I can play now that then I can pay into later. And isn't another thing that gets additionally wiped out if there's another board wipe. Cleric class hits negate. Brain Surge. That's not Wrath of God. Needs a removal spell for Bright Glass. If there's a blocker, I can Swords it. Cryptic Command. My opponent has played so many Wraths already that I decide to play into it. I just take the 2 in case I draw something worth playing. I do not. Portable Hole. That's not Wrath of God. None of those were Wrath of God. Arguably should have held with that. Oh no. Because now, if my opponent has a removal spell, I can cast Swords to Plowshares on the thing that gets targeted by a removal spell, so that I gain life and my opponent will lose 2 life and die if they don't have an answer for Swords to Plowshares. But Supreme Phantom may just not have an answer to both these creatures at all. That's Wan Shi Tong. That doesn't do it. Again, I don't need to target the Wan Shi Tong with this sword because I'm holding it to hit one of my things if there's a removal spell on it. The Wan Shi Tong can't block both creatures. Supreme Phantom loses game 1, and I'm pretty stoked that I took a game. I gotta be real. Feeling happy about that one. We don't have black mana, but we don't have anything that needs black mana to be cast either. Thinking about if it's worth establishing Giver of Runes turn 1, and I decide I do want to do that. I'm not worried about my life total in the least. Now, Giver of Runes can't protect itself, so she just gets in there. Noble feels way too slow. I dodge a miscalculation on turn 2. I said to play the 2-drop so that then I can fetch to get a Surveil trigger. To keep my card selection a little bit up. I really want to find a window to get this Arwen into play, is what I'm looking for. And this is going to be it with this Brain Surge coming out. However, I have 2 1-power creatures in play currently. And I'm going to be putting down a 2/2. I'm not putting a lot of pressure onto my opponent currently. Supreme Phantom in the tank about these cards. Let's go grab a shadowy Backstreet, I presume is what I grab. Yeah. Get me the black mana, give me a Surveil. Again, Pilgrim. Not what I want right now. Ancient Tomb. I guess if I want to activate the Arwen for whatever reason, like if there's a swords on Arwen or something, With the lifelink counter on Hallowed Priest. And Arwen gets subtletied. Big tempo hit. Lorien revealed from Meticulous Archive. Makes sense. Surveil. Negate to the bin. There's the supreme verdict. Killing my 1 power creatures. Now I get to play Arwen. And I'm gonna play this Recruiter of the Guard while I have a chance to get it through uncountered. And I'm thinking about what's the most annoying thing. What has the highest chance of sticking around? Because obviously Ranger Captain is the most immediate value, but if it gets countered, it's arguably less. So I grab Enduring Innocence because that has the best chance of sticking around if it becomes an enchantment, a static enchantment after a board wipe. I lead with an attack. I should just lead with the Enduring Innocence because it's already been revealed. I decided to not play into the counterspell after that. It looks like. Cunning Azure Scale getting Omened. This is a Divining Dive, presumably for a non-land. Portable Hole. Hit my Soul Cauldron immediately. Hit the Subtlety. Put a 1/1 counter on my indestructible creature. Suit up, swing in, put my opponent to 6, cast a Ghost Vacuum. So my opponent cycles the 3 sets ahead that I've been successfully dodging with this Enduring Innocence sitting in my hand. Now we're getting ousted. And Elspeth is a total brick wall for me here. 2 1/1s. tax my opponent's graveyard, though it's so full, it kind of doesn't matter. My opponent is tapped out, so now I get to Enduring Innocence into Leo. Draw another card, but I can't cast this Arwen. Well, I should have just attacked Supreme Phantom. And not the Elspeth.
Your allegiance is misplaced.
And now there's a Jace. Another Planeswalker I have to fight through. But really just a card advantage engine. Because I'm never attacking Jace, probably. Unlikely. With my opponent at 6. Again, I shouldn't have I shouldn't have even attacked Elspeth. Really. Arguably, what I should have done was play Innocence, attack with Recruiter of the Guard at Supreme Phantom. If there's no blocks, then sneak in Leo. That could have been cool. Treasure Cruise. I get to play my own Planeswalker.
I am proud of all those who stand up to evil. Find your inner strength.
Want this Leo to be able to take out more of these 1/1s. I don't know when I'm getting better use out of this Dismember. This keeps my Leo alive. It goes to a 3/3. Maybe it gets answered with one of these Planeswalker loyalty abilities. not close to life title to ult this thing, and the ult it wouldn't even be that useful because it doesn't answer these planeswalkers. My Arwen gets bounced. I don't know what I'm thinking about, other than how fucked I am.
Ranks grow.
Also worth mentioning that my opponent having the land to answer my man land is also a problem here. My Enduring Innocence gets answered, so I don't have the card advantage engine anymore.
Lies in our friendships.
My Arwen gets answered by Mystic Confluence. I decide to shuffle it away so I can at least get in an attack while the land destruction thing is down. Kill both these 1/1s. But this is all kind of a losing battle at this point. If I'm fighting anything at this point, it's clock. My opponent's clock. How long is it going to take for Supreme Phantom to be able to secure this win? Because I am ahead on clock. Stock up. My token gets killed. Not even bother. Worse, killing my Leo. Well, has a different answer for my Leo. Land is
True friends
pretty over.
stand aside.
use the land. Although it kind of wastes my whole looking at the top of my library thing. So that's a mistake. But again, I don't expect to win this game at this point. I'm pretty resigned to my fate. It's more about how long is it going to take. And with that, not very long. Hilariously gets 2 of Johnny's tokens because of the Elspeth, but only gets to keep 1. Gets 2 Pride Mates.
A pure soul can inspire others.
Is really going to get to kick my teeth in next turn. Huge board out of nowhere. Fractured identity doing work. Get my soul cauldron back. Make my opponent search the library. Looking at the abilities and stuff in my graveyard. Nothing relevant, really. Giver of Runes is fun, but... Again, this doesn't matter. My opponent gets to go plus a Johnny, plus Elspeth, and murder me. Steals my Pride Mate. Pluses. From Hell's Heart, I stab at the... That's game 2. Final game. But I am on the play for the final game, which is big. Not the greatest hand in the world, but it'll do. I can turn this Silent Clearing into a different card. I am hoping I draw action and not lands. I want to save this Verdant Catacombs for a potential surveil later, if I'm really not finding anything. Don't really feel like my life total is that important. There's the Meticulous Archive. It's Force of Negation. We draw the bat. We can play the bat. Save our land for a surveil. This gets reprieved. Ponder before a land drop, so presumably looking for land, maybe. Guide of Souls is pretty good. Makes this bat hit pretty hard here. Now I'm expecting Wrath of God? And then we cast a Johnny's Strength of the Pride. Yep, here's the Wrath of God. Get rid of this Wrath of God. Play this a Johnny. Cameo. That's a solitude target.
Perhaps there are more useful texts down on the surface.
I'll start hitting my graveyard to make my creature bigger. I decide I'm going to hold Solitude for a better window in which to use it on the Timeo. Like when it's trying to flip. Dig through time. So, this feels a little bad because this dig through time is almost certainly going to find a Wrath of God, right? So, I do feel currently overcommitted to the board a little. Perhaps I should have plussed my Ajani last turn instead of making a second Pride Mate. Although, the fact that this is taking so long Starts to make me feel like maybe there isn't a Wrath of God in there. Although maybe it was the second card that was just the hard thing. That's not Wrath of God. Hit this dig through time. Oh.
I sense the good.
If you're not gonna... So it's Mystic Confluence. Bouncing 2 of my things. Killing my tokens. But Solitude gets in. Solitude does not get in. And I will crack my Silent Clearing. And immediately still be presenting a board for my next turn. That's not Wrath of God. Still just taxing my opponent's graveyard. I'll gain the life to trigger voice. I don't need more stuff on the field. But I will cast this Deathrite Shaman. Wandering Emperor. And this is a pretty big mistake on Supreme Phantom's part of making it 2/2. That my rabbit doesn't even die too. Instead of exiling my voice and gaining 2 life. So that's kind of rough. Consult. So one of the reasons I play out this Deathrite Shaman is things get board wiped, but now I can put Deathrite under Soul Cauldron. And turn all my creatures into potential lose 2 lives.
Friendship, the best cure.
So these creatures need to be answered. I'm threatening Soul Cauldron stuff. Teferi on Soul Cauldron is really annoying, but I haven't exiled the Deathrite yet, so that's fine. Leo is getting bounced. That's fine.
Might be a bad idea.
We've got the edge in this fight.
3 coming at my Johnny is kind of annoying, but I decided to just let that happen.
Test my patience.
I can play out Teresa and Leo, and then hold up Deathrite potentially for the end of Supreme Phantom's turn. with all these scries, I probably could have found something better than cleric class. But needs a board wipe. Bottom. And we got the GG. We win. What a great run. Shout out to Joeks for brewing this up with me on call. It's great to see this archetype, Soul Sisters, life gain, be extremely real in Gladiator. That's super cool. It's finally gotten there. Shout out to all my opponents. I had a great time playing in this event. And yeah, give this deck a shot. And I'll see everyone next time. Thanks for hanging out, watching. Peace.